Hello, my lovelies. Welcome back once again to the Play for Fame 4PL number 3. And this time it's going to be Team Megashock once again. We've cast them previously. They didn't manage to obviously win that one. And they're going to be facing off against Trolls. Last time around, they did take out TT Dragons. A very, very good game, which we expected to actually be further down in the tournament. But either way, Team Megashock have progressed through to this stage of the tourney. And looks like Trolls are living up to the name. Blitzcrank, Amumu, and Timo have all been banned. Interesting. Or is this a remake? Because it's a remake. Okay, well obviously we just joined into this one, so I kind of saw that Team Megashock had also gone for strange bans. I was like, okay, but it's a remake. So Anivia, Nunu, and Alistair picked up for Trolls, and for Team Megashock it's going to be Morgana, Nocturne, Janna, and also Irelia. And to finish things off on Trolls, looks like it's going to be Jarvan and Ezreal, if they lock that one in.
Well, I assume it's the remake, so they should know what they're picking by now.
It's like, it's taken a while for them to pick Ezreal there. They're trying to remember. Hexit, do we have sound on? Because a couple of people asking me if the sound is off. No, it seems on for me. I just quickly turned on my stream, so I guess must be derping. I'll go ahead and refresh.
Try ahead and turn the sound on, because you know that helps.
Normally a good idea.
Or turn it up. You know, you have it on mute. So, pro tip.
So, yeah, that is
from Pulse.
Somewhat of a pro tip. No trolling detected at all there, of course. So yeah, you're going to have Anivia, Nunu, Alistair, Ezreal, and finally Jarvan on Trolls. Looks like Jarvan is going to be at the top. Anivia in mid, Nunu will be jungle once again, Alistair and Ezreal therefore at bot lane, and for Team Megashock, Morgana mid, Nocturne jungle, Janna and Ashe at bot lane, and finally we are going to see Irelia at top once again from Team Megashock.
Yep, their team name is Trolls. We're not just calling them Trolls because of no reason. So they are actually called Trolls. Just to clear that one up, because someone was asking me. But yep, quite conventional comps from both sides, and Trolls are not trolling this time, but they both have pretty strong early games and good late game scaling as well. Once again, we see Nunu in the jungle, and I really like that. I honestly think Nunu is one of the better junglers at the moment, and I definitely see him coming into the competitive scene very, very quickly. But they have great initiate, global ultimates with the Nocturne, and then Ashe great initiation, follow up with El Mupo's Irelia, counter initiate, and then they follow up with Morgana. It's looking good.
I also just realized that we were telling people who were complaining about no sound on refreshing the stream. Kind of counterproductive, because if they can't hear us, they couldn't hear us saying that either. But yeah, either way, as you were saying before, global ultimate wise looking pretty good. A cleanse taken for both AD carries, which is very, very interesting actually. You can understand why. You've got the Fear from Nocturne, you've got the Soul Shackles, of course, from Morgana, you've got Ashe's Stun, Equilibrium Strike from Irelia, so definitely understandable why Ezreal would take it. And for Ashe, I guess the slow from Nunu and the stun from Anivia. That's what I'm guessing. There's not a great deal to actually go ahead and to cleanse there, but obviously Etnex has his reasons, and also we did see Etnex picking up a pentakill earlier on alongside Peke's most disgusting 1v3 clutch I've seen in a very, very long time, guys. But we're going to quickly go to a commercial break with 1 minute 15 remaining on the delay. When we rejoin us, we'll be live here in round 3 between Team Megashock and Trolls. We'll see you very shortly. Hello, welcome back to the 4PL July edition of the Play for Fame TT Esports. And we're going to be jumping straight into round number 3 between these two teams, but I think Pulse has somewhat of an issue. Unfortunately, they turned off spectator mode for friends list, so I don't think he's actually going to be able to watch this live alongside me.
Why? Well, at least it's not my fault this time. Like last time, because I forgot to add someone, which was completely my bad.
Fairly awkward, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I apologise, guys, if my voice kind of goes, but the last 3 days we've casted probably upwards of 30 hours or somewhere in that region, so I'll try my best, but either way, let's just crack on regardless. Looks like you're going to have Trolls pushing together in unison, throwing out the flag from Jarvan, and also putting a ward down in the bush on top of that. So I'll try and direct some questions towards Pulse when I kind of can, in terms of you know, counters and that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, again, guys, if you have just joined us, Pulse is unable to get into the game at the moment. So I'm going to be doing this one pretty much solo for the majority.
Have fun.
It should be fun, but I'm just a bit worried about my voice dying on me, because I can feel it kind of going a tiny bit. But either way, Coutard is going to be in mid facing off against Wizix on Anivia. See some pings going down. Need to be careful because Alistair, of course, is incredibly scary. The damage on Ezreal there was ridiculous. He got the crit from Etnex. Also, the Eye of the Storm came up from Janna alongside the volley, I believe that must have been. Indeed it was. And it literally put Ezreal on 2 bars of health from full. So he's going to be coming back towards that bot lane alongside Alistair. But Etnex, once again, is looking very, very scary. But obviously he has used that crit now that Ashe gets at the start. And he is going to continue to try and harass himself some players. So, while we have a bit of a lull in the action, I'll ask you, Pulse, in your opinion, it's going to be Jarvan and Irelia at top lane. Which of these two should come out on top?
Jarvan has a lot of laning dominance, more than people think. I haven't seen Jarvan top for a long time, actually, but he's got a lot of lane dominance. Irelia doesn't have a lot at levels like 1 to 3, so Jarvan should have the upper hand levels 1 to 6. Turn at level 6 should be Elmapo's game, but yeah, for the early levels, Jarvan should have it.
Alright, Morgana against Anivia. Any thoughts on that?
Morgana versus Anivia, pretty farming lane basically. Both players are going to farm up, and Morgana is simply just an immovable brick. It's difficult, I can't even see the game. So Anivia will basically just be farming away, and Coutard has a lot of roam capability, Anivia less so. So basically Anivia will be able to punish by pushing the lane, but likewise if she roams then Coutard can punish the lane. It's just a very uneventful lane, I'm guessing. Maybe Morgana will get something done against Anivia, but then she's got her eggs, she's got to pop that, then she's already used her ultimate and her ignite. It's just so many variables to the point where nothing I expect will happen unless there's heavy jungler ganks. And especially Nunu, who's only got a slow and then the black shield in the way, there's very little you can do. Thinking about that, I saw the pigs, and Nunu has pretty good gank lanes apart from Anivia. Well, if she lands her stump, then again, black shield, always a difficulty.
Yeah, both junglers are interested. Here comes Nunu towards top lane. Elmapo is in a lot of danger. A red buff on Nunu as well will be flashing away. So successful gank is successful, and Elmapo will be without a flash for a long period of time. So Nunu's now going to try and go ahead and steal the double golems. We did see some aggression on top of that from Goat Slayer in mid from Team Megashock onto Anivia. Looks like he's going to be going in for again. Morgana baiting over towards Nocturne's side of mid. But Anivia is not going to be biting and is going to just carry on regardless. Goat Slayer will be recalling. And while doing that, looks like he's also going to be losing his big Wraith. So Nunu really putting in the counter jungling here. With the consumer course, he can get through those minions extremely quickly. Now could be a gank on towards Coutard. The Flash Frost has landed. Here comes a black shield. Nice wall on top of that. Dark Binding with a retaliation from Coutard. And again, Nunu forces his second consecutive flash. Both Morgana and Irelia without a flash just for yet. Nocturne will be going towards top, realizing there's Big Golem has been taken. He's now going to come down towards Wraiths, and we'll realise that also his big Wraith has been taken. And Nunu is doing a really nice job. Let's have a look at the difference in XP. Nunu just over half his way to 5, and yeah, Nocturne's about a quarter of his way through. So Nunu is putting in the work here, and also has forced 2 flashes in amongst all of that. So Goat Slayer going to try and equal the odds at top lane. Coming up towards the gank. El Muppo hasn't moved in just yet. The over-aggression will not be given away towards Jarvan, of course. As soon as he sees Irelia jumping towards him, he will realise what is going on. In the meantime, though, Nunu has already pushed his way up in towards the top push. This is going to be a 2 versus 2 situation. A couple of Ignites have been popped off, and Jarvan's going down very, very quickly indeed. Who's going to pick up the first blood? It's actually going to be Jarvan, and then Nocturne back on towards him. So 1-4 exchange so far. Who's going to come out better in these 2 junglers? Goat Slayer is taking a lot of damage here from Nunu, but after the Ice Blast, he can't really follow up with anything too magnificent pre-level 6. So Goat Slayer will be able to get away from that position. But interestingly enough, it's going to be Trolls who pick up first blood onto Nunu.
And you said Jarvan picked up the kill.
Did I? Lovely. First blood. Oh, actually, I think on the, you know when you get the kill feed come up?
Yep.
Jarvan came up first, so I assume that was first blood. But actually, when I press the chat, it's Nunu got the first blood, so I apologise for that. Nunu got first blood, and you are going to have the 1-4 exchange at the top lane. So Nocturne and Nunu, both junglers, have picked up their kills. Nunu, with that first blood, will be picking up the Oracle's Elixir, and also has a Heart of Gold on top of that. So nice opening for him, and this is going to be fairly detrimental to Team Megashock right now, because their wards are going to be destroyed very, very quickly. Level 6 has been hit from Nunu. In the meantime, Nocturne is not even halfway through 5, so that paranoia is not going to come into effect for a few more moments at least. He's going onto his red buff, and Nunu's going to take this opportunity to just go ahead and steal his wolves, coming round for that blue actually. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one unfolds. Need to ask you actually in the meantime, Pulse, also so I can get a drink. In fact, no, hold that thought. Nunu's coming down towards bot, cleared a ward, but he is going to go back, you have to feel. So, Ezreal and Alistair against Ashe and Janna. Which of these 2 lanes do you think should be coming out on top?
Oh man, that's short-term memory. Completely forgot what you just said. Anyway, recall, okay. Right, they have a lot of burst because Ezreal, Alistair, when he initiates, they can just go balls deep on them basically and win the trade. When Etnex and Steve, I assume, hit 6, then Ashe gets a lot of trading power, but for now they should be winning lane pretty heavily because Ashe doesn't really have any real answer. Ezreal has more burst, Alistair has more burst, good shielding from Janna will stop the poke but won't stop a trade. So they should be winning right now. Come 6, then I'm going to give it to Etnex and Steve on Ashe and Janna. So they should get it, and plus they have Nocturne, so it's pretty much a sure kill. That also means that Janna can reposition herself, move behind them, use Monsoon, also the CC. They can literally chain CC for someone for 6-7 seconds, and that's a surefire kill, because even if it's Nunu's Fist or Fury, you can still pick up the kill in that time.
Alrighty, well, I thought for a second I'd need to jump in, because we did have some action on Tocaltard in mid, but the Black Shield did come good, and I managed to allow him to pull himself back towards safety. So, this is the one thing I guess I didn't want, was quite a slow game when I'm solo casting with a dodgy voice. 9 minutes through, 2 kills and 200 gold separating the teams. It is incredibly close. As I said before, both junglers have picked up their respective team kills. Let's have a quick look at some of the farm across the map. Morgana has 70, comparing that to Anivia 65, very, very close. Bot lane 70 right now for Ashe, 73 for Ezreal, again, extremely close. You're going to have a headbutt pulverize combination on towards Etnex, taking him down to about half HP. But he is just going to go through both a mana and healing pot there. And alongside Steve should be just fine. Goat Slayer is hiding in the background though. But looking like not too much is going to happen, so pushes himself back towards the wolves. And finally, I haven't checked the top farm. Jarvan 62, and he is facing off against Irelia, who's on 67. So it is just so close overall. That's reflected in the overall gold It's 12.1k to 12.0. Pretty much identical overall. Nocturne is going to be coming towards mid lane. Ash did fire an arrow towards mid, so trying to connect that one on towards Anivia. This is one of the reasons perhaps that we saw Ash ban in the 2 previous games, because Nocturne waited in mid for the arrow to pass by. Had it have landed, you'd have had Morgana pouncing on top of Anivia, Nocturne going in with a paranoia, and it should have been a very comfortable kill. Even though Anivia does have egg form up, it's going to be a flash in from Morgana, though the wall comes down. It's not going to do enough, so Willix is taking so much damage, he's gone down into his egg form. They're just going to rotate between the tank aggro here. There you go. Nocturne will be getting the kill for his team, and in amongst all of that, while I was talking, we had no action. Suddenly all hell breaks loose across the map, because now Ash is at bot lane very nearly dead, but Irelia went down from Jarvan at top lane courtesy of Nunu's gank. So 3 different lanes, all kinds of action in a matter of seconds. That's going to allow Morgana and also Nocturne to take the race from the opposition's jungle and pull back into lane. So Morgana has blue buff, and obviously Anivia just died, so she does not anymore. Morgana is a level above and has 103 creep score. So the last time I mentioned the creep score, it was very close. 107 to Morgana, 78 now to Anivia. So Morgana's having a really good time of it. Jarvan has pushed that top lane down though. So gold advantage just for a little while will be in the hands of Team Troll. Apologies, needed a quick drink there. We do have a ward going down on towards Drake, so at the moment purple team does have coverage, but hey, there's Nunu with his oracles going to take that instantly out, and it was also a pink ward, so Jenna obviously going through a bit of that gold to get ward coverage of all of 3 seconds in the end. Nunu in the meantime is going to be pushing back, well, I thought to bot lane, but he changed his mind very, very quickly, going into the purple team's jungle. And we have lots of pings towards top, towards Goat Slayer, telling him to go down because Drake is up and Alistar is out of position at bot lane. So they are sensing that Drake is going to be attacked here from Troll, and they'd be well within their rights to think so, because that's exactly what's happening. All 5 players are down. If you have a look, Irelia is still at top, Nocturne's on Wraith, and they're not even going to bother to contest this. And blue team will be picking up the dragon after all. So 1.3k gold advantage coming out the gates after 12 minutes 40, and some items are being built up around the map. Sheen on Ezreal, Brutalizer for Jarvan, a Catalyst of the Protector on Anivia, Heart of Gold on Nunu, and on the flip side, a needlessly large rod on Morgana. It's going to be very scary this early on in the game. You've got Ash with a Dagger and Brawler's Gloves, which of course are components for the Zeal. Also, perhaps the Zeal will be picked up first. Wriggle's Lantern on a Nocturne, and finally for Irelia, Ninja Tabby Boots and components for a Phage. Going to be running on towards Etnex here, but he's going to be pulling himself back. We do have Goat Slayer at the top lane in the bush, waiting for an opportunity here onto Jarvan. The creep wave will be pushing now with another one behind it, so Jarvan could be caught very comfortably. Going to be going in towards this bush, even wrong place at the wrong time. Unspeakable Horror has popped off, and the ultimate on top of that. Cataclysm was used. It's going to lock in El Mupo, who takes a couple of tower shots, but nothing too serious. So again, Goat Slayer has been involved in every single kill thus far on Team Mega Shock. He has 1 kill and 2 assists. We can have some action at bot lane. Monsoon was used from Janna, so they're not going to be bothering to push on afterwards, and also the top lane has been destroyed courtesy of purple, so it's completely equal at top, and just 400 gold in advantage to Trolls due to the fact that they got Drake. How have you been watching this, Pulse, from the stream?
Yeah, I'm about 30 seconds behind, so it's like something happens just like a minute later, it's just like, what? Oh yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you for, you know, what your thoughts in this game are so far. Like, is anything that's standing out towards you? In fact, I'll ask you that again in a couple moments, because Goat Slayer has maneuvered himself around alongside Irelia. Here comes the Ash Arrow, lands onto Voodoo, who is going to instantly cleanse out of that one. That's exactly the reason why that Summoners was picked up. And even though they had 4 versus 2 in that occasion, Cleanse was more than enough to keep Ezreal alive. There's lots and lots of pings going down towards the river. Cowtard, Goats, and also El Muppo moving in unison, but now Nocturne will be going back, probably going to be taking this blue buff for his Morgana, and in the meantime, the exact same is going to happen for Trolls, and Nivea will get the blue buff courtesy of Jarvan. So I'll go back and ask you, anything that you have to say, anything that's kind of glaringly, obviously standing out at you about this game?
Trolls are winning. No, it's so difficult. So, does something happen to bot? Oh wait, no, you've already commented on that. Time difference. Right, Nocturne has gone for that Wriggles Lantern, pretty standard build, gone for the Gold 10 as well. Irelia looking for the Trinity Force, looking for the Burst. There's very little to comment on because it's quite a fairly slow-paced game, and both teams are very equal. On Troll's side, they have good mid-game and good early game, so honestly they should be winning harder than they are, because they have a stronger early game, much stronger early game in fact. Mid, late mid, and then late game, TMsK will have it, because Morgana, great scaling, good initiation, and they have control with Janna. That's all they need for a late game and mid game fight. On the flip side, you have control with with Anivia, who will also scale into late game, but Jarvan, again, control, but a lot of it's in lane. There is control, but of course it can backfire because of course, Jarvan's helping. So, again, you have more control with Alistar, but it's CC and no real substance. And unless Voodoo does really well, it's not going to completely pay off. Again, they have very little late game scaling, and it looks like he's going for 24th as well. So, unless they do something now, if they scale into late game, then TMsK should be able to get the game basically on the virtue of having a stronger team fight.
Well, a couple of abilities were dodged from either side there. Nice wall from Anivia. But Dark Binding and Flash Frost both just flying past their indicated targets. We are going to have a gank at bot lane. In the meantime, Cowtard will be going down in the opposition jungle. Here we go. Can they pick up the kill onto Ezreal? The unspeakable horror, I should say, was propped off onto Ez. And there we go. Ash will be picking up that kill. So AD on AD action. And it's going to be Etnex who comes out on top. He's been having a blinder of a tournament so far. Had the pentakill earlier on. He's doing a nice job at bot lane, facing off against Ezreal. I'm going to be coming round from the backside from Irelia. So, enough to force away the onslaught from Trolls. 3-4 is the scoreline, 23.4k to 22.8, and 1 tower apiece after 17 minutes 30. Very, very close.
Definitely, but you are left with the thought that TMsK, if they drag it out, then they should have this, and also DemTrolls just have to force the advantage that they have inherently. And they need to be forcing those fights. Of course, Drake was taken off them. Who took Drake, by the way? Was it Trolls?
It was Trolls earlier, yeah.
Right, so Dragon. They are pushing the advantage, and they have decent siege as well with Anivia and Voodoo. Great poke, great siege. So they need team fights, and they need sieging. And they need those 3-man invades. That's what they need right now. And wait for next Drake, and they should force a fight. If not, probably just to take the Drake to actually win a fight and pull further ahead.
Alrighty, well, Drake is due up very, very soon. You can see from Team Megashock, they are all just camping around the area. There we go, Drake has came back up. Nocturne also has an Oracles. Cowtard will land a nice Dark Binding onto Jarvan. So they know that Trolls are well aware of the situation at hand. There's also a ward down from Trolls in the Dragon Pit on top of everything else. So this Dragon Dance is kicking off. Ward has been placed from Janna in the intermediate bush just in the middle of the river. Here comes Alistar popping down his ward as well. So really is a stalemate in the river as of yet. Which of these two teams is going to break the deadlock? We've seen a lot of kind of picky play from both teams. Getting a player here, getting a player there. But no all-out 5v5 action has ensued thus far in the game. The tower has 11 HP remaining. A mouse fart, and that will drop down very, very briskly. And now you are going to see Trolls taking down this ward coverage. Ash Arrow comes in, lands onto Anivia. Beautiful play there, Dark Binding afterwards. And that's what we're talking about. Ash's initiation is ridiculous. Cataclysm from Jarvan. And amongst all that, Morgana has the Hourglass already, so she's going to be just fine, popping off so many players on no HP. Here comes Nocturne, popping the egg. Morgana will go onto Ezreal, who's going to stand up now, make something happen. Ash onto Jarvan as well, and that's going to be Irelia falling down, so a 2-for-2 exchange thus far. Nunu will go onto Nocturne. And Hawkshot comes out from Ash. So the top and jungle are down from Team Megashock. And the AD carry and top laner for Trolls. Fairly even exchange overall. But you have to say that Team Megashock could pick up this Drake, I should say. Etnex will be taking that one down. I mean, Nunu's on very, very low health. Alistair's under half HP, but it's going to be enough to actually force them back. So Team Megashock will not be picking up Dragon, and that's the first proper clash that we've seen between these two teams, and fairly even overall, 6-5. Did you catch team fight, or are you still watching?
I'm watching it. Okay. Alright, so Trolls honestly should have come out ahead on that. They got initiated upon, and that's the massive fear with TMsK, because they have great initiate, good control. Anivia placed a good wall, and El Mupo knew it was going to happen, predicted the future, flashed over it before it even happened. Very, very clever. So basically just got complete McLaren. But on the flip side, TMsK were good to initiate that one, because they need to get ahead, because they have better late game scaling. And honestly, for that to come out equal, TMsK therefore came out ahead, because they shouldn't have the stronger mid game. DemTrolls should have the stronger mid game. So to come out equal in a fight like that, yeah, that was very good on TMsK's part.
You're going to have another Drake attempt. Cataclysm has been used from Jarvan, albeit fairly wasted in the end. Nocturne will pick up the Drake. Lots of AoE. Ezreal's coming in from the side. Has been relatively untouched. Both AD carries actually are doing a magnificent job. Ash picks up the double kill, and now it's going to be going for the triple. Could next be picking up yet another Quadra? The answer appears to be a no. Irelia will go on towards Nunu. The shutdown comes in. Irelia gets a second kill. So that was a 4-for-2 exchange, with Team Megashock definitely coming out ahead. Also, on top of that, they picked up the Dragon. So awesome stuff from Team Megashock. 10-7 ahead, but only 500 gold ahead of Trolls. 2-1 towers. But again, Ash, perfect positioning. Managed to pick up the kills. In fact, pretty much got out of that team fight unscathed. Has 95% HP remaining. That was ridiculous.
That was really nice. Yeah, okay. Splendid. So, TMsK are in a great position right now. They push bottom tower. I assume they've gotten it.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright. So, yeah, they're in a really great position because they're ahead, they have better late game scaling, they have a weaker team fight right now, but their play has made their team fight stronger, basically. Trolls are not using their control very well, because what gives them a great mid-game is because they can split up the team fight. You've got Cataclysm to pin down a couple people, Anivia has range, he can output a lot of damage, so can Voodoo, and then Alistair can follow up. Just massive, massive control. But they're not utilising the control very well, to the point where TMsK are abusing it. Like, their entire composition is control, forcing the fight so they are in better positions, they get fewer people into small places, and they pick them off. But it's not happening. And it looks like they're starting Baron?
No, they're just kind of lurking around the area, but neither team really seems too interested. Dark Binding has landed Ash Arrow in as well. Nocturne comes in, they have focused down Ezreal so hard, but he is going to be able to escape. In the meantime, Ash is dangerously low HP as well. So both teams doing a fairly nice job of focus. Nocturne ran a bit too far and got punished, so Goat is down and out. 1-for-0 exchange, it appears to be, at the conclusion of that team fight. And Etnex, still lurking around with such low health, has been spotted from the ward. So is going to be recalling. Something interesting could happen here. But no, Nunu's not going to be following around. Doesn't look like they're too interested. So yeah, Ash will be getting back. 1-for-0 exchange. Fairly interesting overall, because that was the kind of team fight where so many summoners, so many abilities, so many ultimates were popped. So it just goes to show how good these two teams are, managing to escape deaths here, there, and everywhere.
A pretty dodgy dive from Nocturne.
It was,
he completely split himself from the team in between two towers, and he zoned one person. Bruiser for what carry? Okay, but Ezreal's 0 and 3. He's not the huge damage threat, and Nivea is. And Nuya's pretty strong at the moment, so is Jarvan. But Ezreal, yes, he's a lot of damage. He's got the base damage, of course. He's a proc carry. It's mid game, but even so, it wasn't worth it. It really wasn't worth it. It was good for them to press the advantage that they had, but they didn't have the advantage to the point where they could outright win. They're underestimating the strength of Trolls because they still have the stronger mid-game fight, and they actually utilised their control really well there, because Nocturne went in, they zoned everyone out with the control. They got the pick. That's what they need to be doing at every single team fight, but it was kind of spoon-fed to them in that case, because they were in between the turrets. Very, very difficult to escape from that one, even if they didn't have the control comp. But even so, if they can replicate that control in a team fight maybe in the jungle, very difficult to replicate it in mid, in like an open space, but if they do it in jungle, then you should have the next team fight. But it's all about control, all about utilising the ultimates correctly.
I think what happened there in Goat's defense, though, is that he popped the paranoia, jumped on towards Ezreal, pretty much max range, and in that time, Ezreal realised, okay, I'm probably going to be focused here, because I've caught the Ash Arrow, I've caught the Dark Binding, I am low. So he arcane shifted and flashed away from the tower, and kind of similar to a Maokai Twisted Advance, once you started that ball rolling, you are going to end up on that player regardless of where they go. If they flash, unlucky. If they arcane shift, whatever, you're going to be on top of them. And that's kind of what happened to Goats, and I think he felt like he had to just go ahead and try and get the 1-for-1 exchange. He realized he was so far behind enemy lines in no man's land that he was going to go down regardless, and he tried to go down swinging, but still it was a bit of an odd situation, because as you say, Ezreal's not really putting out the most damage, and Nivea is. She has a large rod, she's got a Rod of Ages, she's got a blasting one, she's doing a lot of AoE damage, so to all just pile on towards Ezreal, kind of maybe not the best of ideas in that situation. But again, it's easy for us to look back in hindsight and be like, okay, they did this, this, and this wrong. It's those split decisions that these players have to make in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, for sure, Captain Retrospect, but
Yeah.
it was, I can completely understand that. He was committed, it was a single mistake, but ultimates like that does commit you, and you have to be ready to go for that commitment. Like a line from a romance film, actually.
Oh god.
But, oh god, the reference. But TMsK is still in a good position, because they're ahead, they have the better scaling. It's down to control. Trolls need a team fight right now, they need to lure them into the jungle, most likely they need to go for Baron, really, and just bait out a Baron fight near the jungle area, because then they can control the fight, they can split a couple people off, someone will flash, Jarvan ultimate, someone will flash, Alistair just pops them back into place again. So much control. If they can get fights where it's like a 5 versus 2, 5 versus 3, and they can make it a 5 versus 3, then that's how they're going to win. But as it is, on open ground, TMsK have it.
Yep, well, you did mention, just as you said, they need to force Baron fight. Nunu went across and cleared some of the wards, which kind of nearly started a fight there, because Ashe does have her ultimate up once again. But, as it stands, all 10 players are actually moving towards Drake, because Drake is up once again and will feature on the battlefield. Here comes a Hawk shot from Ashe, going to have perfect visibility for a couple seconds there on the entirety of Team Trolls. Flash Frost going out, somewhat optimistically. But if you don't ask, you don't get. And in amongst all of that, well, Nocturne and Ashe are just going to be taking down Drake on their own. And there's pretty much nothing that Team Trolls can do about it, because, you know, Morgana has a Dark Binding, which is incredibly scary at this point. If it lands on, she can put down the Tormented Soul. She has Hourglass and also the Large Rod and a Blasting one. So lots of ability power. 290 to be precise. It's going to do a lot of damage. There we go. We can see onto Alistair, who will instantly triumphant roar, but he's lost about half of his health just from that combination and Ashe's volley. Here comes Jarvan. Will they be opening this one off? He has landed himself a Dark Binding as well. Thought for a second he may jump in and commit with the Cataclysm, but not to be. Oh, nice Dark Binding once again from Morgana. 3 consecutive Dark Bindings landing, the last of which on Ezreal, which is going to make him a bit weary, down a couple bars of health. And will Ashe be initiating anytime soon? The tower is fairly healthy, just above half HP, so they don't want to be diving this one just yet. But in the meantime, Jarvan is just going to be farming up, and we are going to see Anivia going onto Morgana, completely catching Morg out. They're instantly pinging towards Baron, I didn't even have a chance to switch my camera around. That was ridiculous burst coming out from Trolls. And now marking Baron instantly. Could we be seeing an epic Nocturne steal coming in here on towards Baron? They're definitely behind. 27 seconds before Morgana's up. First ward goes down. Hawkshot's also been used from Ashe. Coming around the backside. Transcendent Blaze has been popped off. Also the volley. Coming in with the ultimate will be Alistar pulverizing up. So much burst potential here. Etnex has gone down in the blink of an eye. Very, very comfortable. And the AD carry from Trolls is still up and very, very healthy. Steve is trying his best to run away. A 1-for-1 exchange overall, but remember that Morgana was not any part of that team fight because previously dying, and Janna's going to go down courtesy of Anivia going behind the towers. Nocturne and Irelia both on about 50% of their health points, but Irelia does actually have her Guardian's Angel. Going to be going in here a bit too early. Baron is not even halfway down towards death. And Irelia will be losing her Guardian's Angel. Once she respawns, should be dead. On top of that, there you go, Glacial Storm. Goodbye, Irelia. Thanks for coming and giving us a free kill. Morgana has arrived at the scene with full HP and mana, and it's going to be very, very scary. And I guess Team Megashark can be relatively happy in the sense that they did manage to hold Baron off just for a few more moments.
Yeah, that was good and bad. TMsK are getting a bit panicky at the moment. It's apparent from their play. Like, they're just... Yeah, it was like 4 versus 5, they're going to go Baron, we need to do something. And they were very jittery about it. They weren't patient, they didn't wait their time. It was just lunge at them and see what happens. Again, Trolls didn't utilize their control but still won. By virtue of having 5 versus 4, that's just how it rolled. Especially when your AP carry is out of it. And in mid-game, your AP carry is about 60-70% of your damage because they peak.
Sorry to jump in again, but we know you're behind, and Baron is going down right now. Both teams are around here. Nunu will be picking up the Baron. Soul Shackles instantly afterwards from Morgana's going to stun 2 or 3 players comfortably. She's going to go down very quickly afterwards, though. So that's going to be a Baron and a kill. On top of that, Alistar and Ezreal both on such low HP. Etnex is going to get bursted in a matter of milliseconds from Java, and that was incredible damage. Monsoon used from Janna, but the beautiful wall from Anivia is going to claim that kill on top of everything else, and Trolls are looking strong to pick up this game. They are 3 kills to 0 up in this exchange with a Baron to boot. Going to be pushing this mid tower. Both players have been stunned. Here comes the Jarvan combo, knocking Goat Slayer in the air. He's going to go down too. Just Irelia remains. Yes, she does have full HP and mana or thereabouts, but she's not going to be able to stop 5 strong Troll players right now that are breathing down the Inhib's neck. Inhib has become naked and very vulnerable and will last only a matter of milliseconds before going down. The pings are coming towards bot lane. A nice big healthy creep farm wave has came down there. El Mupo's been caught and will be going down as well from Anivia. And wow, Team Megashark are just looking so outclassed at this point. Bot tower falls. Now looking for that second inhibitor, and they can actually pick this one up with Irelia out of the equation for 40 more seconds. And they are going to be pushing on regardless. They don't seem to care or respect Ashe's damage at this point. We are going to have a Flash Frost on towards Ashe from Anivia. Ashe going down very, very quickly again. Finished off from Nunu. Here comes a Paranoia from Nocturne, who's also going to follow suit. Jarvan picks that one up, tanking the tower all day long. Finally gets dropped, but Ezreal chimes in for the 3rd or 4th kill. In fact, it was the 4th kill of that exchange. And that's going to be the second inhib. And out of nowhere, a Baron and then just instantly finished off. Very reminiscent from Moscow 5. Here comes Morgana though, with the Soul Shackles. It's only going to stun Alistar. Alistar's not going to care too much about that. Hourglass comes out. Instantaneously afterwards, True Shot Barrage rips through Morgana and will take her down. The shutdown in effect though onto Ezreal. Can Irelia make something truly special happen? The answer, perhaps. Managing to push back Trolls for now, but you have to say the damage has been done. 2 inhibs, about 4 towers on top of that, and so much gold. Suddenly, a 7k gold advantage comes out, whereas before it'd been about 1 or 2 at most.
Just TMsK very, very jittery. Just jittery. They want to do something, but I get the feeling they're underestimating their opponents. DemTrolls very unknown. I haven't seen any of the names before. They were like, okay, easy win, we can go on to the next game, especially after beating TT Dragons, who are one of the best teams at the moment, definitely in some of these tournaments that were casted, and to move on to an unknown team, they were like, okay, easy win. But they're trying to punish them like they were the scrub team, but they're not scrubbed in any way at all. They've proved that they are extremely, extremely good at punishing. They're not utilizing the control very well, but it doesn't really matter because they're making good calls, and often good calls can override composition calls, and it's working out for them. That's just how it rolls. And in that last push, they lost Baron. Okay, they lost a couple players. That's fine. Elmwhopper gets caught. That's bad. That basically means it's 4 versus 5 for the next 40 seconds. Then more people get caught, one after another, one after another. They're just too jittery. They want to finish it quickly, but they're not waiting for the game just to get into adolescence to the point where they're actually stronger, because they know what their team comp is and they know what their team comp is. But I suppose after seeing them misuse their team comp, it's like, okay, we can abuse it, we can initiate, we can go with our great initiating team and then punish them with Morgana because she's great in mid game. But it's just not working out for them because inherently, despite not correctly using the control, they can still push them away just by randomly using ultimates, because Nunu, you have to run away. Alster, you have to run away, and you have to get out of those enclosed spaces like Jarvan ultimates. That's just how it works.
Yeah. Well, I fully agree with you, but look at this. We have an Ashe arrow going in, lands on towards Jarvan. This could be last chance saloon. There's a lot of AoE damage. Nunu with the absolute zero, doing so much. Cataclysm comes in from Jarvan, but Ashe will be picking up that kill, so we could see a bit of a role reversal here. Ashe picks up the second, potential third kill here. Will be the triple. Second time I've said that from Etnex on Ashe, as the case may be this time round. So really nice engage from Ashe, managing to land it on towards Jarvan. They did lose a Nexus tower in amongst all that from the super minions though. So a 3-for-0 exchange, but losing a Nexus tower. Nexus towers are so important. But you have to say that was a minor victory for Team Megashock. And what I was going to say earlier on is that Ashe had a scoreline at one stage in this game of 4-0-3, I believe the scoreline was. Then it went down to 4-3-5. So 3 consecutive team fights. Ashe was burst down first or second and could not do anything. Maybe a placement issue, positioning issue from Etnex. Maybe just a really bad kind of poor engaging from his team. Either way, it's important that he has stood up because he's such a good AD carry. If you give him half a chance, he's going to take down the entire opposition. Now has Last Whisper, Infinity Edge, and Phantom Dancer. That's a lot of raw damage output from Ashe. The question is, Pulse, can Etnex stay in the proper position throughout the team fight and utilize that damage to its fullest extent?
Well, take a look at this game. This is almost identical to the Curse EU and Mal's final last night, or 2 nights ago, where they had 2 inhibs down, the inhibitor turret had fallen as well, but this didn't happen in this case, and the one Nexus turret had fallen. They came back and won because they had slightly better scaling, and that was slightly. It was just good play. TMsK have much better scaling. If they can stall for just a little bit longer, the composition is going to be stronger.
Oh, we're going to have an engage that's forced off here because Janna got caught way out of position. This could be the final nail in the coffin from Team Megashock. Double kill comes in. That's Ashe down second. What was I saying before? Positioning is key. You can't really blame it though because Janna got caught in such a bad position. That's going to be the GG. 4 kills go down in a matter of seconds. Ezreal with a double kill and just Irelia left standing. Morgana, I think, was trying to clear wards or position some of her own wards down. Alistair got the headbutt pulverize combination, and after that Ashe felt compelled to push on in and help her support out, so that's going to be the GG. It just goes to show, Pulse, at this level of the game, at this stage in the game too, about 38 minutes, that small mishap can be well and truly the throw of the game right there and then.
Yeah, for sure. TMsK, they were just too jittery. Yeah. That was all it came down to. The calls were impulse calls. They weren't thought out at all. And I get the impression that they're usually made from the top or the jungle. And Goats did some very interesting plays this game. I think Goats was just a bit off. I'm not saying anything against Goats at all. Great player, and I'm the first to say I really like TMsK as a team. But I have to say the calls were a bit off this game.
It happens. Yeah, I mean, you can give players some criticism without being harsh, and there was a couple of calls there that Goats made, and again, we said before, hindsight's always 20/20. It's always nice to look back, but in particular that Ezreal dive that he did behind the tower, you could see what he was thinking. You could kind of see what happened, but Ezreal was just too quick with the arcane shift and flash, and put him in a really difficult situation. So it was just a culmination of errors that I believe led to the demise there of Team Megashock. It's kind of just personified in that last mistake they made with Janna. Just in the middle of nowhere, gets caught out from the full lineup of trolls and gets completely punished. It just felt like one of those games that Team Megashock never really got comfortable in, if that makes sense. Which definitely is reflected in what you said about being jittery. They seemed a bit kind of hit or miss, like they were waiting for something to happen, but they wanted to force it. And sometimes trying to force things in League of Legends is the worst possible thing that you can do. It's about picking the right moments to strike, especially with a lineup with characters like Morgana and Nocturne. You can't just force an engage of them characters, because if Nocturne goes in at the wrong time, he's going to die very quickly. Sure, he's great, but if he gets taken out quickly, he's useless. Same with Morgana.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's basically everything.
So I've just got like 3 game invites in as many seconds from different people, so I have no idea what game we're watching next. I'm going to switch to Skype and have a look. Okay, Kickaway will invite you, and they're going to be against Fnatic, so let's roll on in here